I'm Lisa with Ivy Lane Interiors, and today's project is this Bernhardt server. I was out shopping at Salvation Army and I picked it up for $60. It's really pretty good shape overall. It has the drawer that you pull out. It has all the areas for the cutlery and the cloth that comes over to protect the silverware from tarnish. So when I got it home, I realized it was actually finished on all sides. So it's kind of a unique piece in the respect that it can be floated in the middle of a room. It doesn't have to go against the wall. But it also means that if I'm going to, whatever finish I put on it, I've got to address the back as well. So it would be a lot of work to refinish the entire piece. So anytime I'm flipping a piece, I always like to think in reverse, and I like to think about, what can I resell this piece for? So I'm going to do a little bit of research on, I'm going to screenshot it, take it into Google Lens, do some reverse search on it, see if what are they selling for in as-is condition, what are they selling for if people have refinished them. So I don't want to put in more effort and in time and supplies than I can actually recoup, because which is fine if it's your hobby, but if it's your business, you want to make sure it's profitable. So I'm going to do a little bit of research before I decide on a design, but I don't want to paint it. I think with the moving parts, with the those flaps opening, paint can rub and all that. Wood is a much more durable finish if you have moving parts like that. So I definitely want to keep it wood, but I don't particularly like the color that it is right now. So I'm trying to decide, do I strip it to raw? Do I use my gentle restoration and put some gel stain over the existing finish? I'm going to do some research and we'll try to decide as I go. Let's go.
Overall, it's a really nice piece. You can tell it's just really orange. So I think the finish is honestly the most dated part of it. I definitely have some issues on the top. The stone is thankfully in perfect condition. Sometimes those are broke or cracked. Thankfully, no problems there. I still have the inside, the drawer, the cutlery area. That whole piece can come out. And so if somebody wants to use that a little bit differently, you can see the hardware is very tarnished. But the main issue is I have this big chunk right there of veneer that's just completely missing. So I'm going to have to either fill it in or patch it in and then correct it. But it's a really beautiful piece. You can see I have a lot of variations in the wood. I usually like to start by doing a good clean, and that just helps me to assess it to see, okay, what actually needs to be done to this. So if I don't think I'm going to need a full refinish, I will go ahead and clean first, and that just helps me in the assessment process. So I'm using a nice degreaser. I'm going to get on the bottom and then I'll give it a really nice sand. Sometimes it's just good to get a nice clean surface. You'd be amazed at what you can get out by just using a degreaser. So there was an area here on the surface that had some type of marring on it, and I was able to just buff that out. I will go ahead and remove all of the hardware so that I can give a really good polish. For the area where I'm missing the veneer, I have a pack of veneer that I bought at my local woodcraft, and it just kind of helps me match up some veneer and see, well, what's close enough that I could actually patch it in and then maybe color it in to match. And I felt like this piece probably had the most similar wood grain. I'm going to place a piece of tape over the area that I'm missing the veneer. I'm going to color that area in with some pencil. I was losing my lead at this point, but it still works. Now I'm going to take the tape and I'm going to put it over the veneer. I'm going to trace out that area, cut it, and then that's the piece I'm going to actually glue in and patch in that missing veneer. While that's drying, I'm going to move on to scuff sanding. I am going to try a gentle restoration. I'm using General Finish's protocol of putting gel stain over an existing finish. You need to either sand at 150 or 180. You're just scuffing up the surface a little bit so that it can accept the gel stain. Then you're going to clean it with a 50-50 mixture of denatured alcohol and water. It's going to be a really good sanitizer, get any additional grease off. You can see the shine on the left as opposed to the right where it's just kind of dulled down that surface. I'm just trying to kind of etch it up, kind of knocking back the shine. So I had a little area there where you can still see some shine. So I'm going to go back with my 180, hit that again, and then clean it back off. I have an area that has a scratch or something. I might go a little bit deeper, maybe 150, but I try to kind of stay with 180 because I'm really trying not to break through the existing finish. I'm just kind of roughing it up. This is something extra that I do. For the detailed areas, I like to hit it with a little bit of liquid sandpaper, just to make sure that it's etched up well enough so that it can accept the gel stain. I'm going to use Varathane gel stain in the color Hickory. It's very easy to apply. Gel stain sits on top of the surface. I'm using just a little stain applicator and I'm applying it in a circular motion going against the grain. I'm just going to apply it, let it set for just a couple minutes, and then I'm going to pull back the excess with a lint-free rag. I'm using Mohawk's epoxy putty just to fill in a few areas on my repair on the veneer where it didn't quite meet in with the existing wood. So I'm just going to use that to fill in those little areas right there. I used light walnut. They have it in a lot of different colors, but this is my first time using it. So I usually use Quickwood, but I've heard really good things about Mohawk, so this is my first time using it. I'm going to continue working my way around the whole cabinet, give it a nice good scuff sand so that I can go ahead and start applying the gel stain, and I'll sand that repair area and then begin the process of blending that in as well. I didn't feel like that was dark enough, so now I'm going to go back with a second coat after that dried for 12 hours, and I'm going to use General Finishes Java. I just feel like it needs to be a little bit darker. So we're going to just keep working it and layering it and to get it to the right tone that I'm looking for. So here it is after 2 coats of the gel stain. I like it, but it's still not exactly what I'm looking for. So I think what I'm going to do, it's really close to the tone I'm looking for. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to tone it. So I'm going to add a little bit of dark walnut into my top coat as a toner. And I'm hoping that that will give me exactly the color that I'm looking for. So you can usually put in a couple teaspoons. Usually I think they say about 10%. I have about a cup of the top coat, and then I'm just going to add a couple teaspoons in. I kind of eyeball it, so I don't have a particular formula, but then I'm going to apply it and see if that will give me the tone that I'm looking for. I'm still working on that repair. I'm going to tape it off and use some Mohawk Blend-All sticks just to kind of blend it in. The area where it was missing, they had like a little lighter colored detail on it. So I'm trying to blend that in to the existing area. So I'm just going to keep kind of working it with my Blend-All sticks. I'll come back and use some of the toner. Then I'll also layer over that some gel stain. So sometimes it's just a matter of layering. It's kind of like what you would do as an artist. You're just layering and you're just trying to get things to look like the surrounding wood. So does it have to be 100% perfect? No, you would be surprised. It'll just all blend in. But I just kind of keep working it until I get it where I like it. I do like the tone, so now I'm ready to seal it. So I'm going to use the same sealer I was using before. This is a polyurethane by Minwax, and it's in a beautiful, warm, flat finish. As a final touch, I'm going to do a little bit of gilding with some gold wax, and I'm just going to use my finger and I'm just going to go over some of those tiny little details. For the hardware, I boil some water, add some vinegar, let it soak. Then I come back with some Barkeeper's Friend, very fine with steel wool, or a very soft brush, and I polish all the hardware. You can see how much tarnish was on there. And then I'll spray Mohawk's Brass for lacquer. This is just going to slow down the tarnish process. Let's look back at the before of this orange little beauty. Was in good shape overall, I mean quality piece, but obviously we had some failing finish. I had a big chunk of veneer that was missing, but after all of those repairs and a gentle restoration with gel stain, here is the finished product. Isn't it lovely? I really like the tone. I had the 2 coats of gel stain, but it just still wasn't quite what I was looking for. So the toning with the dark walnut really made a big difference. And I just think that matte, can you believe that beautiful, very subtle shine on there? This is a beautiful polyurethane. I'm really loving the matte finish right now. Can you believe the hardware? Absolutely stunning. I'm always amazed when I polish up the hardware, just the huge difference that a polish makes. But the wood grain, you can see I had a lot of failing finish, but the gel stain just filled all that right in. And then the multiple coats of polyurethane seals everything. I do like the subtle gilding. It's not very bold, but it's very subtle, so I think it kind of matches the piece. I am glad I left it wood because I think it helps with the functionality as of our cabinet. When you're opening and closing the flip top, I think it makes it very durable and usable. So overall, I think it's a very beautiful piece. I think it really brings it into the 21st century. What do you think? Do you like this one? Did you like the tone? Tell me what you think, and thanks so much for watching. So what do you think? Do you like the tone? I really do. Do you like the tone? I really do. Still has a lot of the variations in the wood, but I really felt like it needed to go a little bit darker. And I think adding that dark walnut toner over the existing 2 coats of gel stain really just made it shine. That existing hardware polished up all day. Beautiful. Subtle gilding, love it too. So I'm a fan. I think it's beautiful. So obviously it's a quality piece. It's a Bernhardt. So it's always really fun to be able to refurnish. It's really fun to be able to refinish such quality pieces and allow somebody to be able to use it in their home. I'm glad I did decide to keep the wood because I think that it really helps with this particular type of I'm glad I was able to keep the wood and not paint it because it's just a lot more functional, especially when you open the flip top area and you're opening and closing those, using it as a bar, if you're using it as a bar cabinet, I think it's just a lot more functional and more durable because you're not going to have chipping paint. So I think it's a really beautiful piece, and I think it looks definitely a lot more modern. What do you think? Do you like the tone? What do you think? Do you like this tone of wood, or did you prefer the orange? Tell me in the comments. And thanks so much for watching.